Hello everybody. I hope everything is working correctly. I changed the setup a bit, so I hope everything is sounds clean and looks great. So, welcome to yet another PrestaShop project live update. This is eighth time we meet for the project news, project demos, and so on. And we, coming back after a little summer break because the summer is over for some, and the yearly summer is summer for the year is also almost over. So, but enough of the bad news. Let's start with something better. For those who don't know, my name is Christian Podemski. I work as a tech evangelist at PrestaShop company. And today with me, I have a pleasure to have Thomas Nares, who is developer documentation maintainer at PrestaShop project. And we prepared for you something really interesting for today. So for today's agenda is this introduction right now, as well as event rules. I will share with you some of the project news, what's going on with the new releases, what we plan, and so on and so forth. And then we will proceed to the demo from Thomas, who will be showing you the recent changes in the developer documentation. And believe me, it's something really interesting since he will be showing a lot of great stuff, not only as part of the documentation, but as a part of something that you could do with PrestaShop as the developer or as a user. Last but not least, we will have a Q&A session. And remember that if you have any questions, you can answer them during the demos. You can ask about the project, about the demos you see, and so on and so forth. So let's go to the event rules. As always, please use the chat to ask questions. This event is about the PrestaShop open source project, so we don't really discuss company stuff there. This event is public and is being recorded, so you can see the demo on YouTube later. And last but not least, just be nice to each other, let's respect each other, and abide by the code of conduct of the PrestaShop project. So let's get into the news. The first news I would like to share with you is a little reminder about the upcoming PrestaShop Developer Conference. For those who don't know, we will meet in the developers for the developers conference in Paris this November, at the end of November in Paris. And actually, the call for paper closes on September 29th. So if you plan to submit any talks that you would like to give during the PrestaShop Developer Conference, it really is almost the last call for you to submit the call for paper to us, so we can validate it and organize the agenda for the event. Themes for this year are as follows. You can discuss module development and theme development. You can prepare something about performance optimization regarding PrestaShop. Maybe you have some solutions for developers that you'd like to highlight and you'd like to show to other developers. Maybe some would like to show to us how they use new PrestaShop the features, or discuss about two really important subjects like security or deployment of your PrestaShop applications, continuous integration, continuous delivery, and deployment. This is really a hot topic in the community. So if you want to share any news regarding any knowledge how you approach these topics, make sure to submit your talk proposal to us so we can validate it. I will share the link to the PrestaShop Developer Conference website in a moment. And now let's go to the next news. And as you probably know, we released a few few new patch releases for PrestaShop. The first one is the first patch for PrestaShop 8.1 actually, which is not only the first patch for when it comes to bug fixes, but also it's part of the security release of this version. So if you want to know more about the release 8.1.1, please follow our developer blog on build.prestashop-project.org. 8.1.1 is not the only release that we published in August. It's also as also a part of the extended security support period, we've released 1.7.8.10. And as it was not that long ago since we released 8.0, we've decided to also release a security fix for this version as well, even though this version after the release of 8.1 is not really maintained anymore when it comes to bug fixes, security fixes, and so on. If you want to assure that if you want to make sure that you are receiving all the security fixes, all the patches, all the upgrades for your PrestaShop version, make sure to upgrade to PrestaShop 8.1 as soon as possible. When it comes to security patches, you can follow security advisories on our GitHub to know more about the technical details regarding the security issues. You can also see right now on the screen what we fixed in 8.0 and 1.7.8 branch. Those are fixes that we've decided we triage as critical issues that we would like to we had to fix on supported branch, which is 1.7.8. And as I said, we also decided to fix those on 8.0 branch, but it's not a regular support for this branch as it's not maintained anymore. What else? If you want to upgrade to the newer version of PrestaShop and you don't really trust our auto upgrade module, or you don't want to do any automatic upgrades, you can also go on GitHub releases page for PrestaShop repository and basically compare two releases. You can also export the patch from one version to another by comparing the changes between tags, so you can later apply only the necessary changes to your store. It's very handy for those who don't want to go through an entire process over and over again, or struggle with some upgrade issues in the past. There's not that many changes, as you can tell by seeing the div of the new versions of those two releases. So I'm sure it's completely doable to do the upgrade manually without spending too much time on it. So if you want to have the latest security fixes, and I'm sure you want to, make sure to either upgrade using auto upgrade module or by applying the changes manually, which shouldn't take that long. What else? Well, it's almost end of the summer, it's almost October, so Hacktoberfest 2023 is coming. It will be a 10th edition of this month-long celebration of open source. There are some changes in this year's Hacktoberfest, but we will be releasing an article on that very soon on our developers blog, so keep an eye on that, because we will be informing about Hacktoberfest, about the rules, about how to contribute best to PrestaShop. And this year we will for sure prepare better to make sure that all your contributions during this period, during October, will be matched to the core if they are, of course, valid and meet all the requirements that we have in the project. So yeah, Hacktoberfest is coming, and we expect this year to be the best year ever when it comes to contributing to the project. And now, the clue of the today's demo. So I will now invite Thomas to the stage, who will be presenting you the recent changes for the developer documentation. Hello, Thomas.
Hello. Thanks, Christian.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, thank you. So
nice. So yeah, I will leave you on the stage so you can present the demo, and I will join you afterwards.
Yeah,
enjoy.
Thanks. Okay, so I'm Thomas Nares from France. I've been developing various PHP solutions, mostly e-commerce ones, during the past 15 years. It's been a year now that I'm working closely with Christian and Pablo on the DevDoc website for PrestaShop. Very pleased to be here today to show you some improvements on DevDocs made during the last few months. So for today, I've cherry-picked 3 subjects that I will illustrate with live demos. First one is how to run PrestaShop on Docker. Second one is web service usage example with Postman. And third one is the module configuration page with the Symfony style. So if you don't know Docker, Docker is a platform designed to help developers build, share, and run containers application. Docker will avoid you installing a web server on your machine, Apache or Nginx, for example, installing a version of PHP, installing a MySQL server, since those applications will be run on containers. It will help you running multiple versions of PHP and PrestaShop to test modules, for example. A few months ago, there was no clear guide on how to install or run PrestaShop on Docker for a newcomer on the solution. So we decided to create a guide. You can find it on DevDocs under Basics, Installation. So this is the installation guide. We introduce two diagrams visually explaining what are the main differences between a Docker installation and the classical AMP installation on the operating system of your choice. AMP for Apache, MySQL, PHP, which are the main dependencies for a PrestaShop instance. So let's open the Docker installation guide. So this guide will help you install Docker and Docker Compose, which is a tool to orchestrate multiple containers together. So let's follow the tutorial. We need to create a Docker Compose manifest, which is basically a text file in YAML format, describing all services required to run PrestaShop. So for that, I will open VS Code, which is my IDE. So we need to create a Docker Compose.yaml file. So this one is already pre-filled, but you have all the instruction in the documentation. So we can see that we will create 2 services with this file. First one is a MySQL service. We indicate that we want MySQL 5.7, that we want to set admin as root password, and we want to create an empty database named PrestaShop. We need to explain that we want this container to run on a network named network demo. And since we want to be able to start and restart and stop this Docker Compose stack, we need to create a volume so that the database data is persisted. So we do that by creating this kind of volume. You can find more information in the PrestaShop documentation. Next, we have to create another container which contains the PrestaShop source code, which contains an Apache server and contains the PHP executable. So I indicate that this container depends on the demo MySQL container that we declared earlier. And I set some environment variables that the MySQL server is this one, the DB name is this one, DB password. I also indicate that I want PrestaShop to be installed automatically with demo data. And I indicate that my folder admin should be admin-demo. I indicate that I want it to run on the same network, and I want to persist data. So on the next start, I will have all my instance ready to work. And I have, at the end, my network and volume declaration. So now my Docker Compose file is ready. I can just start my PrestaShop instance. So to do it, I just have to type Docker Compose up. So when you will start it at first time, it will take like 3 to 4 minutes to be started because it needs to install a database. it's need to deploy demo products. But since I already started it earlier, it's very fast to start. Then I can go on my browser and go on the store. So as you can see, maybe it's small on my screen, but it's localhost 8080. So this is the PrestaShop running. This is the front office. I can go to the back office also. If you need to connect, it's demo@prestashop.com. This is the default credential. And the default password is PrestaShop_demo. This is when you have the installation, the automatic installation setup. This is the default credential. So this is the first part of the demo. We started very quickly an instance of PrestaShop running on Docker. So now for the second part of the demo, I want to show you how to use the example we made for the web service with Postman. So to do it, I need to enable the web service feature on PrestaShop, and I need to create a key to access the web service. So I have to go to Advanced Parameters. I have to go to Web Service. And if it's not enabled, you have to switch Enable PrestaShop's web service to Yes, and you have to create a key. Don't worry about the error message. Since I'm running local without HTTPS, it's raising an error, but it works. So this is my web service key. So I can store it for later usage. So now I will go on this repository, which is a PrestaShop maintain one, PrestaShop/web service Postman examples. As you can see, there is 3 JSON file for the moment. You can clone this repository on your computer. And you can also install the Postman application. Postman is a tool that allows you to test APIs quickly. So I will clone I have cloned my repository on my computer. I have Postman running. So I have to import the 3 JSON files that were on the repository. So I click import, I choose folder, I go locally in the repository, I choose open, and it will import 3 collections. So I'm importing them. Okay. So for the first test, we will take this collection. This collection is a really simple one about manipulating products with web service. You have to go to the variable, and then you can see that we have 3 variables: web service key, web service URL, product ID. For the web service key, we will replace it with the key we generated earlier. So this one. For the web service URL, this one is good. This is the one I'm using on Docker, but you can change it for the URL you are running on. And for our tests, we will retrieve information about product ID1. So my setup is good. So don't forget to save this tab. Okay. So I will test the first request, which is get all products. So as you can see, this is a get request with the variable web service URL that is set to localhost /API/products. If I click on send, as you can see in the result, the API is returning me the list of all products that are existing in the back office. If I go on the back office, on catalog products, I can see the same list. So by default, the output of the web service is as XML, but you can ask it as JSON, and you have the same return as JSON. If we want more information about a product, I can use the get product request. So if you remember, web service URL is set to localhost, product ID is set to 1 in the parameters. If you want to retrieve another product, you can just change the ID here, or you can change the ID here. So I will try to get the information as XML for this product. So I'm clicking send, and the API is returning me lots of information about this product, like its name, its description, and so on. Now we will want to go further on product management with web service. So we made you another collection, which is way more complete. This collection will help you create a product from A to Z. So when you create a product or when you manipulate a product, you can see that you have lots more entities about the product. You have, for example, a manufacturer, you have a supplier, you have categories. Your product can have combinations, so you will have option values, it can have features, and so on. So for this example, I will set up my web service key. This is the same. I go there, I go there, I replace, and I save. Okay. So I want to create a new product from scratch. So I will first create a manufacturer. So we made an example. So this is a post request to API/manufacturers. If you have a look at the body, we only indicate the most important parts, which is, for example, the name. So if I try to send the request, the API is returning me a complete menu entity. If I go to the back office, I can see that my manufacturer is here. It has just been created, but it has no logo for the. I can add it via web service, or I can add it via the back office. So, okay, I have a manufacturer. Same, I will create a supplier. Okay, I have it. So the ID of the supplier I just created is 3. The ID of the manufacturer I just created is also 3. I will also create a category to put my product in. So for example, category demo. Okay, looks like it's created with ID 10. We'll confirm this in back office. If I go there, I see category demo with description, my awesome category description. Okay, so it's working. So now I can create a product. I still miss some information, but I can create a product. So to create a product, the XML is a bit more complicated, but I will indicate that ID manufacturer is 3, the one I just created. I will put it in my category 10 by default. I will maybe indicate some description, some product name, and so on. And I will just send my request. So the web service tells me that my creation was okay, and my product now has ID 20. So if I go to my back office, yes, I see my product with product name, category demo, and if I open it, I can see that description is set, category was set, but for the moment, this is a simple product. I have no pictures, for example. So I can upload an image. I will replace it the ID of the product because it was created with ID 20. So I put 20 there. And I choose a file there. Let's find a picture. Okay. And I can send the request. Okay. So web service tell me that the image was successfully uploaded. And when I reload my page, I can see my face on the product. So the picture was successfully uploaded. This product for the moment has no stocks. So we need to retrieve the stock available entity linked to this product. Because when you create a product at PrestaShop, it creates a stock available entity. So I will put 20 here because it's my product ID. I will send the request. And okay, what the API tells me is the ID of the stock available entity related to my product is 59. So I can save it. And I can send the patch request to API/stock-available/59 with a body, which is 59 and a quantity of 10. Okay, I've sent it. If I go to the quantities tab and I refresh my page, I see my 10 quantities that have been modified. We can also update multi-name fields. So you do the same, product ID 20. And I will add a meta description in English and the description meta en français, and so on. I will send it, and then I can go to basic settings, refresh, and see my description in English and see them in French. Now we would want to create combination product, which is a more complicated type of product. So this one, for example, has almost the same XML as previously, but it has the product type combination. So I can send my request. The product created is 21. I can go on catalog, products, and I've just seen my awesome product with combination. If I click on it, I have some information. And you see I have, for the moment, no combination because I need to create them. We can use existing product option and product option values, but we are going to create them. Let's imagine we want to sell a product that is specific to some cat breeds, for example. So we are going to create a product option with name, breed. I'm going to send the request. Okay, so the ID of the product option is 5. Okay. And now I want to create a product option value. So the ID of the product option is 5. And the value is, for example, Persian cat. I'm just sending it. And it tells me that the product option value ID is 26. So now I can create a combination with this product option value. So let's go in this one. So I have to set here the ID of the product with type combination. It was 21. And then I just set the product option value we just created. I think it was 26, yes. And I say that the price is 10, for example. I send the request. And when I go when I refresh my page, there is a new tab, which is combination. And I can see that combination with breed Persian cats that have been created at 10 euros, like we indicated in the web service. You have the same example for feature and feature value. And then you have also example on how to link, how to associate product to a feature. So I will let you experiment with this one. So to conclude, you may use product-related web services for various use cases, such as catalog management with a PIM, for example, price updates connected to your ERP, or marketplace catalog integration, for example. You could also develop a headless front office or a mobile application connected to PrestaShop web service to show your catalog, and then use cart and order web service to build a complete headless e-commerce solution, for example. So that's it for the moment about web services documentation improvements. Another subject I wanted to show you is a recent ad in DevDocs about creating configuration forms for your modules with the Symfony way of doing it. So let's see what it is about. So I'm going in the documentation. So we made this page, which is pretty long, but it will help you create a complete module with a configuration page. So we will not discuss exactly how to build it, since there is this complete tutorial that you can follow. But we are going to download the complete example module. We are going to mount it on our Docker stack that we started earlier. Then we will install this module with CLI, and we'll access the back office to see how it looks. So let's go. So I'm going to the example module repository. So you can clone this, this repository on your computer. So I already cloned it. Then you have to copy the directory of the module you want to install in your at the same place as your Docker Compose manifest that we created before. So for example, I want this module. So I can go back to VS Code. As you can see, I created a subdirectory called modules, and I've put the module I downloaded from the PrestaShop repository. So if we have a look at this module has the classic module entry point that implements a getContent method. GetContent method is responsible for the configuration page of a module. So we can see that this method redirects to a route called demo configuration form simple. We can find this route in config route.yaml. As you can see, it's the same name. We can see that this route refers to a controller named demo configuration controller on the method index. So I can open it. Yeah, here it is. We can see that this method is related to a form data handler that is declared as demo configuration text form data handler. We can find it in service.yaml, which is here. We can see that this form data handler refers to a form data provider and to a form type. If we have a look at the form type, we can see that it is building a form with only one field, that is config text as a text type. And all of these concepts are deeply explained in DevDocs. So if you have any doubt, you can find more information just here. So now I'm going back to my docker compose.yaml. And what I will do is I will mount my module that is locally on my computer inside the PrestaShop container. So to do it, I will use a bind mount. So I can uncomment these 3 rows. First one, I indicate that my volume has a type bind. Bind means that every modification made in this directory will be visible in the container and so on. So I indicate that the source of the bind is module/demo symphony form simple, which is the path you can find here. This is a relative path. And for the target, I indicate the location on the PrestaShop file system where I want this module to be mounted. So it's in the PrestaShop directory /modules/demo symphony form simple. So I have to save, and then I have to restart my Docker stack so the module can be installed. So I press Ctrl+C to stop the containers, and I start it again. Okay, so it will take a few seconds. Okay, so at this point, the server is ready. So I can check that my PrestaShop instance is still working. Okay, it's working. So now I can go on the back office to see my configuration page. But before that, I have to install my module. So there is 2 ways of installing a module. You can go to the back office to install it manually, or you can use CLI. We are going to install it with CLI. There is various options to send commands to a container, but I will illustrate an easy one. So I open a new shell and I type docker exec ti, the name of the container, which is demo PrestaShop, and /bin/bash to get a shell. Okay. So what I can see is that I entered the container in the var w HTML directory. I can see all the PrestaShop file system here with ls, for example. So now I'm in the right directory. I can send the command to install my module. So the command is php bin console PrestaShop module install and the module name, which is demo symphony form simple. I just send the command, and this CLI is indicated me that the installation on module demo symphony form simple succeeded. I will just clear my cache, but in real life, you will use PHP bin console cache clear to avoid any side effect, but this one will be much quicker in this example. So now I can go to my back office. It can take a few seconds since the cache needs to be rebuilt. Okay, I'm in my back office. So I can go to modules. I can go to module manager. And I can try to find my module, which should be exactly at the end of the page. I can click on configure. And the configuration is showing me a configuration form with only one input, which is configuration text. And as you can see, this is the input that is in the form type here. We can set a value, we can save, and it's persisted to database. So yes, it's working. So to complete the demo, I wanted to show you a very recent add to the docs, which is a form types reference. This reference will help you integrate more complex types in your form, and you can test them, for example, in the previous example module. So you have a list of all form types here. And for each form type, you have, for example, a preview example, a code example. You have information about if you need to use JavaScript components and so on. Another thing I wanted to mention is that we work the page about sample modules. So if you can see there is a table with all the module. We try to be as clear as possible about the module description. And we integrated minimum version information. So you are not tempted to try this module, for example, on an 1.7 instance. So that's it for me about what's new in DevDocs. I hope that you enjoyed the demo. Feel free to ask some question here or Slack or on Docs repo with an issue. We will do our best to answer. If you enjoy this kind of demo, don't hesitate to tell us in comments so we can plan new ones. Thanks.
Thank you, Thomas. I'm sure it was really a great demo, and it's good to finally have you there because I have this occasion of mentioning your work for a few months already, and it was always a great pleasure to inform about the new changes on the list of hooks page or in the search feature of the developer documentation. So thank you for the amazing demo. It's worth noting, as you mentioned, that if you have any issues with the developer documentation, if you see something to be improved, you can inform us by heading to the GitHub developer document PrestaShop's developer documentation GitHub repository, which I will send the link to on the chat right now. And what is different comparing to the core repository is that we do have a list of issues there. So if you have any troubles, if you have any request for the developer documentation, or you want to discuss something, you can create a new issue to for us to check. Regarding the demo, I think the really interesting part is how you, Thomas, shown us how to use web services. It's the first time we have the full example on how to really create a product, how to upload the image, how to update the product properties, plus to how to manage the stock. The one thing that I would like to precise, I'm not sure if web services are capable of creating a full headless application. I think there would be some challenges regarding the cart management and user session. But what's also documented is that you as a developer can extend the web service by adding your entry points. So possibly you could extend web service to handle user sessions, cards, and so on, to make web services headless, to make PrestaShop headless. So yeah, I didn't see any questions on the chat. There was one from Pablo who asked about using auto wiring in the module. So yeah, that's true. We can use auto wiring in PrestaShop, but only starting in version 8.1. There was also a question about having JSON as an input in web services. As Thomas showed you, it's not possible right now. We can have JSON as an output. Well, for what it's worth, currently there is a team in the project who is working hard on the new API, currently focused on the back office side of things. And this project is based on API platform. It's fully Symfony based. It's based on Symfony API platform, which will be a great addition to PrestaShop v9. And later, after we migrate fully front office fully to be capable of using Symfony in front office, I think we could use this layer of API also in front office and then build on top of it to make PrestaShop headless. So currently it's not possible, but it should be possible in the near future. Plus, I think that we could create some middleware to transform JSON to XML. I'm pretty sure that could be possible. What do you think, Thomas? How do you see it?
Yes, I think that should be possible.
That should be possible, right?
But yeah.
I've seen some solutions in the community. There was this one project which shows how to use Angular in version 2. So it's a bit old project, but it showed how to use Angular with PrestaShop, and it used JSON input simply by using some middleware to transform from JSON to XML. It was a bit easier to work with for the front-end developers. So yeah, I think it's something that we could implement, and it shouldn't take that long. Maybe somebody from the community could be interested in contributing. It could be an awesome thing for web services. For since we don't have another API just yet, it could be great to improve this part of web services. All right, let's take a look at some of the other questions that have been sent to us through the forum, because asking questions during the live update is not the only way you can ask us questions. You can also use the form, which we share on every announcement that we made before the event. I just shared the link to this form. And we do have one question from the community this time. It's a question from Vincenzo about legal compliance in PrestaShop in Germany, and whether we are going to improve it or not. And the issue Vincenzo mentioned is actually regarding the legal compliance and licenses around for the TinyMC and some other third-party libraries that we use in PrestaShop, which shouldn't impact really legal compliance in Germany or any other country. But since we don't understand the context fully, and I don't have any contact to you, Vincenzo, I would like to ask you to reach out to me on Slack, or just send the same question on Slack on our PrestaShop open source project Slack. I will send you the link on YouTube chat right now, so we could better explain the context behind this question. What is the struggle that you are having? Is it about legal compliance when it comes to licenses of third-party libraries? Something what happened with Google Analytics in France recently, or maybe it's related to tax management, or informing about prices and so on, which would be a more relevant, I would say, when it comes to legal compliance in German market, which I know is very tricky to be compliant with. The law in Germany is very strict. I don't see any more questions. Maybe somebody has. So maybe we could share a few more links. And just a reminder that after the demo, tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, there will be a summary of the live update that we host right now, and there will be basically we link every time we summarize the live update, we link to all the relevant resources for the live update. So we will for sure put the links to the web services examples, to the docs repository and PrestaShop developer conference, and so on and so forth. So I think we will wrap things up. Thank you once again, Thomas, and I hope to see you next month, maybe with some other project. I like that you mentioned the form types for the custom form types that we use in PrestaShop. It's worth adding that as PrestaShop is based on Symfony, there's much more types available. For those, you can follow the Symfony documentation, and for those custom ones, Thomas made sure to document them correctly. Feel free to test those if you are a developer, and maybe our next project could be to improve the example module to integrate all those files into it. But we will discuss it sometime soon. Okay, thank you once again, Thomas. Thank you for those who've been with us today, and we see you in October for the next live update. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.